of His Holiness Pope John Paul II. He has just published a book entitled Crossing the Threshold of Hope. This is his latest, and it has become a world's bestseller. Within weeks of its publication in America, they sold 1,600,000 copies of this. I haven't been able to get the figures for Britain, but throughout the world, millions of copies of this have been sold. And in this book, His Holiness the Pope, he devotes 8 pages to Buddhism, 7 pages to Judaism, and he gives 4 for Islam. The religion which is the closest and the nearest to Christianity, the only religion other than Christianity which makes its followers to believe in Jesus, Islam. And His Holiness the Pope only has 4 pages dedicated for Islam. Buddhism 8, Judaism 7, Islam 4. And he's talking about dialogue. They have sent out to the medias of the world, newspapers of the world, that they want to have a dialogue with the Islamic world. When they talk about the Islamic world, I think they have in their mind especially the Arab Muslim world. What is this dialogue His Holiness is talking about? For the past 10, 15 years, every time I've been reading about His Holiness's movements in the different countries of the world, I read that when he went to Turkey, he made a pronouncement that we must have a dialogue with the Muslims. When he went to Nigeria, he said, we must have a dialogue with the Muslims. When he went to Kenya, he said, we must have a dialogue with the Muslims. Who is this we? That's the Roman Catholic Church. They must have a dialogue with the Muslims. And I was waiting. I was waiting for somebody from the Arab world, from the Al-Azhar, going along and having a dialogue with him. From somebody from India, Pakistan, some Alim Allama, going and having a dialogue with him. I'm waiting to read in the newspapers that so-and-so went there and they had a discussion and what they spoke. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and nothing happens. Things were happening, but the world didn't know. So I wrote to His Holiness. I said, Your Holiness, you want to have a dialogue with the Muslims. The Holy Quran also tells us to have a dialogue with you. Allah tells us in the Holy Quran, Qul, say, Ya Ahl al-Kitab, O people of the book, O Jews and Christians, Ta'ala, come. Ila kalimatin sawa'in baynana wa baynakum. That we come to common terms as between us and you. Let us get onto a common platform. And the terms and conditions of getting together, Allah gives them to us. The fairest that one can imagine. You can't imagine anything fairer than that. Number 1, of getting together. Number 1, Sa'an na'buda illallah, that we worship none but Allah. Wala nushrika bihi shay'an, and that we associate no partners with Him. Wala yattakhiza ba'duna ba'dan arbaban min dunillah, and that we do not take from among ourselves lords and patrons other than Allah. فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا, but if they turn back, they don't respond. وَقُولُوا شَهَدُوا بِأَنَّا مُسْلِمُونَ, tell them that we are Muslims, we are submitted our wills to the will of Allah. The Quran tells us to have a dialogue with you. And your book, in the Holy Bible, your Bible, in the book of Isaiah, God says, come, let us reason together. So this is a commandment given by God in the Bible and in the Quran, and I am prepared to come and have a dialogue with you in the Vatican, in Rome, at your convenience. Time, date, to your convenience. No response. I wrote another letter. No response. I wrote another letter. Then I get a response telling me that His Holiness is prepared to receive me in his secretariat, in private. Secretariat, in private. So I write back to him. I say, Your Holiness, you see, this dialogue is not between Ahmad, Debat and the Pope. This dialogue is between Islam and Christianity. And the whole world will want to know what's going on, what are we talking. The news media of the world will want to cover it. The TV networks of the world will want to cover it. Islam and Christianity. One side, 1 billion Muslims, and over 1,200,000 Christians. They are having a discussion, and the whole world will want to know what are we talking. So there are 3 plane loads of young Muslims are prepared to come from South Africa. And my brothers from the UK, my brothers from the Middle East, all these people want to come and hear what we are going to talk. Dialogue, what dialogue we're going to have, what are we going to talk about. How big is your secretariat? So no answer. Again, please, let me know. I'm not telling you to come to South Africa. If you want to talk to me, come to South Africa, to my city of Durban. No. That's arrogance. This man is great. He is the head of 900 million Catholics. They take him as an infallible person like God. Whatever he says is like the voice of God, the voice of Jesus Christ. His title is the Vicar of Christ. He's the Viceroy of Jesus Christ. Whatever he says is Jesus Christ putting it through him. No, as such, it's arrogance on my part to tell him, hey, you come, talk to me. No. I'm prepared to come over. No response. How big is your secretariat? No response. Then I get in the post a picture. This one here. Now I don't want to put my hands to my eyes the way he's doing here, because this camera is catching. The camera will catch me, and then someday somebody shows the film and says, look, Deedat is playing hide and seek with people. Look, in Bradford he was doing that. He was doing like a monkey tricks. So I don't know. Therefore, I just show it to you. I'm sorry that all of you, you can't see it. It is too far away, but I think it will be available on tape. On the tape, I'm sure these people will be able to catch this. So I get this picture in the post, which gives me the answer to what he's doing. He's playing hide and seek with Muslims. The picture comes in the post. Akhi Jibreel couldn't have delivered a better message to me to say, look, you're wasting your time. This guy is playing hide and seek with the Muslims. This picture. One picture is worth 10,000 words, says the Chinese. And here, I think it's worth 20,000. So, I was disappointed. And I come to Britain. And in Birmingham. I'm in Birmingham. And Dr. Abdullah Nasif of the Rabita, he happened to be there. And some body of society invited him for lunch. And I got also blessed. They also invited me. And we happened to sit side by side. He's an old friend of mine, Dr. Abdullah Nasif of the Rabita. So he's asking me, Ahmad, he said, what happened about your debate with the Pope? It wasn't a debate. But what happened about your debate with the Pope? That's the only word they know, debate. See? I said, no, we were going to have a symposium, but what happened about your debate with the Pope? I said, no, that guy was playing the fools. He's making a mockery of the Muslims. He's playing the game with us. I knew it all along, but I didn't want to say that. But now I said, look, I'm convinced that the guy is playing a game. So Dr. Abdullah Nasif tells me, he says, he did it to me too. He did it to me too. Look, he doesn't mention that. In those chapters I named, Buddhism, he mentions people that he had discussion with among the Buddhists by name. Judaism, on the subject chapter on Judaism, he speaks about the Jews with whom he had personal discussion. About Islam, not one word about any name, no Muslim name at all. Amazing. Man, you want to have a dialogue with the Muslims, you mean to say you never had any chat with any Muslim? In your experience, not one name. No name. As if the Muslims don't exist. However, so Dr. Abdullah Nasif tells me, he said, you see, he did it to me too. I said, what did he do? He said, you see, when I was in Egypt, his agents, the Pope's agents, they came to me and said, look, if you want to meet His Holiness, he will be happy to receive you for a dialogue. And he said, I agree. No, Arabs are simple people. Wallah, they are simple people. We Muslims, all are simple people. We can be easily described as simpletons. Simpleton? You know what is simpleton? A ton is 2,000 pounds. Simple is simple, full of simplicity. Huh? No. Simpleton in English means a bloody fool. No, you don't know. See, the guy said, yeah, he's a simpleton. It happened. I was doing a lecture in one of my towns in Natal, Stanger, and the chairman, he happened to be a teacher at the school. He happened to be a chairman. And he's describing me to the audience. So, Deedat is a simpleton. No, he didn't know. He's a teacher, but he didn't know the implication of what he's saying. And alhamdulillah, the audience also didn't catch the joke. See? So after the meeting, I'm telling her, I says, you know what you did to me? He says, what? I said, you know, you're telling the people that I'm a bloody fool. He says, no. I said, what is a simpleton? Simpleton doesn't mean ton of simplicity, it means a bloody fool. We Muslims are all simpletons. We get easily caught out. Because we are sincere. You know, we have no hidden agendas. So we get caught out. So Dr. Abdullah Nasif, he goes to Rome. And he goes to the Vatican. Vatican is a city-state. It's a city-state independent of Italy. Independent of Rome. It's a state by itself. It's a Vatican city, but it is a state by itself. So he goes to the Vatican City, and he's well received, well received. He goes to a grade of waiting room. He sits down there, waits for a few minutes, and then he's taken to a higher grade of waiting room. He sits there for another 5-10 minutes, and he's taken to still another higher grade of waiting room. Suspense is being created. You're going to meet the Almighty now. Astaghfirullah. You know, you're going to meet the Almighty. Here. And in comes the Pope. In comes the Pope. You know, suspense. Now in comes the Pope. And charming. He's charming. There's no doubt about that. He's a master psychologist. You know, he is prepared to embrace you. He's prepared to kiss your hands. He'll even kiss your feet if you allow him. I'm telling you. No, he knows what he's going to get out of you. How he's going to tie you up. He knows. He knows he's got his victim. So he says, well received. He says, you come from, you're an Egyptian. He says, no, I'm a Saudi. Look, he didn't care or he wasn't told. He's just received. Are you an Egyptian? He said, no, I'm a Saudi. So he says, you know, you people do not allow us to build churches in your country. You don't allow us to build churches in your country. And Abdullah Nasir is a mature man. He's a mature man. So he says, will you allow us to build mosques in your Vatican City, your Vatican state of Vatican? He said, no. We don't mean in Makkah and Medina, but in the rest of Saudi Arabia, give us a chance to build churches. So Dr. Abdullah Nasif says, you see, the whole of Saudi Arabia is our Vatican. All is our Vatican. The whole of Saudi Arabia, your Vatican may be 50 square miles. The city-state. Our Vatican is the whole of Saudi Arabia. But is that the dialogue that Allah wants you to have with him? No. The ayah I read to you, Allah says, Ya Ahlul Kitab ta'ala, come. Ila kalimatin sawa'in baynana wa baynakum. That we come to common terms as between us and you. Come, man, let us talk. About what? About Allah's wahdaniyat. Allah na'budu illallah, that we worship none but Allah, wa la nushrika bihi shay'an, that we associate no partners with. This is what Allah wants us to talk about. Not about the price of oil in your country, or the price of tea. No. But the guy has got his agendas. He's going to get what he wants to get out of you. And now he's waiting. The masjid is built in Rome, and it was with the Pope's blessing. It was the previous Prime Minister or President of Italy who had given permission to King Faisal to purchase that piece of land and build a masjid. The Saudis spent some 35 million. Altogether it cost 50 million. Alhamdulillah, might be a beautiful structure. The first one in Rome. There are 1,000 churches in Rome. Among them is this one masjid. Alhamdulillah. But now he's going to make a beeline. He'll be wanting to go to Saudi Arabia. He'll go to the Arab countries. He said, look, we want to build churches in your country. Look, we allowed you to build a mosque. What about allowing us the permission to build churches? Tit for tat. You know, you got to reciprocate. You can't clap with one hand. You can't clap with one hand. You clap with two. So he said, look, man, you know, we gave you one hand. You also give it to us. Master geniuses. They know what they're doing. Strategy. Then I go to Malaysia. Tunku Abdur Rahman, the old Prime Minister of Malaysia. So he's asking me, everybody seems to have known about this dialogue of my attempt. Because I printed 250,000 copies of this in English and 250,000 of that in Arabic. For the Arab world and for our world. 250,000. So everybody seems to know that Ahmad Debat was making an attempt to meet His Holiness the Pope for a dialogue. So I meet Tunku Abdur Rahman. He passed away now. May Allah give him Jannatul Firdaus. He said, Ahmad, he was older than me. Said, Ahmad, what happened about your debate with the Pope? So I told him the same story, what I told Abdullah Nasir. I said, no, this guy's playing a fool. He's playing a game with us. He's making monkeys out of us. He says, Ahmad, he did it to me too. I said, what did he do? He said, you see, I was in the Mediterranean region, visiting those countries, and his agents got hold of me. And he said, look, man, don't you like to meet His Holiness the Pope? He would like to give you audience. Have a dialogue with him. And he bought it. I'm telling you, Muslims are simpletons. We are simpletons. He went happy to the Vatican City. He went. And he was well received. Same like Abdullah Nasir. Grade 1, higher grade, until you meet the Astaghfirullah. And the guy comes in, charming, until he's got charms. So he says, he knew that this man is from Malaysia. He says, 3 of my priests are caught in Pernah, one of the states of Malaysia, where at that time they had a law for drug smuggling, death. Now, the whole of Malaysia, that law applies. The whole of Malaysia. Today, if you want to go to Malaysia, and if you apply for a visa, the Malaysian embassy, when they give you the grant with the visa, they put a rubber stamp saying, Dada is dead. Dada is not your grandfather. Dada means drug. In the Malaysian language, Dada means drug. Means drug is death. You are warned. You are warned. Anything to do with drugs, you're going to die. If you still want to go, you're welcome. But you are warned. Do not get caught off guard. Dada is death. So, but at that time, it was one of these states of Malaysia, death penalty. So he said, can't you intercede with the Penang government to let my people go? Is that the dialogue Allah wants you to have with him? No, the guy is out to get what he can out of you. But now I'm saying, Your Holiness, if he was available, if I can have a chat with him, I say, Your Holiness, you devote 4 pages to Islam, and you start your chapter. These pamphlets have been given to you all. You must have got them in that packet. If you take them out, you'll see it. Take them out. It's worth seeing. His Holiness, what he thinks of us. Take out this pamphlet here. It says Muhammad, that beautiful color picture of him. Also you see the Pope. You see the Pope says, open the first page, inside, and you see this word Muhammad. See the word Muhammad? You see the word Muhammad? Look, this word Muhammad is not just Muhammad. It's got a question mark. Look. It's got a question mark. What is he questioning? The name? Is this name something abnormal, unnatural? What is it? Why is he putting a question? Muhammad! I said, what's your name? You say Hitler. I said, Hitler? I said, what's your name? You say Saddam. I said, Saddam? In other words, I'm shocked. When I ask you, you're very rhetorical. You say, what's your name? You say Saddam. I say, Saddam? Saddam? You Saddam? No, what is this? I'm shocked. I'm amazed that you are Saddam. How did your father give you the name? When did he give you the name? How old are you? So, he's asking the question, Muhammad? Astaghfirullah. Is this how you would have a dialogue? When you would have a dialogue with a person, is that what you're asking? I say, my name is Ahmad Debat. So Ahmad, Debat. What the hell, man? What's wrong with you? You would have a chat with me. How is that how you would treat me? So I said, Your Holiness, you see, you are talking about dialogue. But in this one chapter, 4 pages, you are actually leading the Christians into a war path. He is leading them to war against Islam. He is talking about dialogue. In friendliness, we get together over a cup of tea, we sit down and we chat, we discuss difference of opinions. Why this and why do we disagree with you and why do you disagree with me? We chat, we exchange views. No, he's preparing his people for a war against Islam. The world's bestseller now.